Ego, the part of the mind that mediates between the conscious and the unconscious, and is responsible for reality testing and a sense of personal identity. It's built from previous actions and biased experiences, and that is why it's often painted in a bad light. The truth about ego is too commonly ignored. It is the ego which drives self-discipline, the ego that drives habits, whether good or bad, and it is the ego which drives the journey of self-reformation. However, though the ego induces actions which align with its morals, it is also the same actions which cause the ego to be built. This positive feedback loop is why the term ego and your perception of the values associated with it often seem extreme and deep-rooted. Your actions decide your ego, which decides your actions, which decides your ego, and so on. This explains why the ego is often the culprit of the search for comfort. It is the values of your much younger self, the reliance on others and constant effortless escape from discomfort, which have been carried and exponentially compounded, which make up the core service of the ego. Persistent human actions and replicated decisions catalyze the formation of the ego's incorporation of new values. Therefore, the introduction of good habits, which go against the pursuit of comfort, are likely to replace the intrinsically aligned principles. In effect, it is those good habits which drive self-discipline due to their reconstructing effect on the ego. The reason why the term ego is often painted in a bad light is because of the contemporary laziness and the reliance on bad habits. These have emerged due to technological advancements which assist such laziness. The idleness which is ever growing reinforces the intrinsic principles of the ego and so strengthens the pursuit of comfort, which is often referred to as the ego blinding you to reality. The blame of such laziness is consequently placed upon the ego. However, once this ego is tamed and manipulated by good habits, it will, instead of blinding you to reality, guide you to developing greatly as a person. The tactic which many people use to kill the ego is to realize its influence and question its commitment to your actual values. However, this is ineffective due to the subconscious authority in which the ego holds. The influence of the ego is much more common than the realization of the ego, and therefore the reliance on realization to diminish the influence is futile. Instead, you should try to influence the trajectory of your ego's development by introducing good habits, which will reinforce the good morals which you intend and would like to rely on, rather than sticking to bad habits, which would instead add to your priority destructive ego. In summary, ego is a collection of past actions and experiences which form a self-important identity and which subconsciously prioritizes specific values. Therefore, good habits reinforce good values and bad habits reinforce bad values, which will both be unknowingly implemented. If you have learned something new in this video, then please consider subscribing and liking the video.